The 42nd Canadian election will break multiple records in our history, as it will be the longest election in modern-day history, 78 days, and also has 3 different parties at almost equal standing in the 4 running polls. In fact, the only election which happens to be longer than this one was the 1872 election, which lasted an entire 89 days. But that doesn't really count because that has staggered vote, meaning that people voted on different days during the election time. Since the beginning of our history, in 1867, Canada has had 3 different parties ruling it. Our very first party to rule Canada was the Conservative Party, led under Prime Minister Sir John A. Macdonald. Out of the 4 provinces back then, 3 of them voted Conservative: Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick. While Nova Scotia, the 4th province, ended up voting for the Anti-Confederation Party, a bloc Nova Scotia, if you will. And when they ended up losing the election, they joined the Parti Rouge from Quebec and the Clear Grits from Ontario to form the very first Liberal Party and Her Royal Majesty's opposition for the very first time. Ever since the Confederation then, the Liberal Party has ended up serving the government for 71 years, forming the government 23 times, while the Conservatives only won elections 17 times and leading the government for 41 years. The only other party to ever win the elections was the Unionist Party, which was a coalition between the Liberals and Conservatives for a short period of time in late World War I, and they only lasted for 3 years, and they only formed the government once. Canada so far has had 22 different prime ministers, with only one of them being a female, Right Honourable Avril Kim Campbell, who led the Conservatives for about approximately 3 months in 1993. But in fact, she was not our shortest prime minister. Our shortest prime minister was Conservative Sir Charles Tupper, who only lasted for approximately 69 days, and he's more of an interim leader after the former PM's death. Our longest prime minister, however, was Liberal Sir William Lyon Mackenzie King. He lasted for more than 21 years and is currently on our $50 bill. The youngest prime minister was Right Honourable Joseph Clark. He was a Conservative who was our first prime minister when he was 39 years old, while our oldest prime minister was again Conservative Sir Charles Tupper, who was 74 when he was first sworn into office. Out of all the prime ministers born in Canada, only 4 of them were not born on Canadian soil. They were all born in the United Kingdom. The very first prime minister to be born on Canadian soil was Sir John Abbott. He was born in Quebec, while the first prime minister to be born after Confederation was Right Honourable Arthur Meighen, who was from Manitoba. Our current prime minister, Right Honourable Stephen Harper, who was 46 when he first went into office, was born in Toronto, Ontario. However, he represents a riding out west in Alberta. Out of all the prime ministers we've had, only 2 of them died in office, and neither of them were assassinated or murdered. Our first prime minister, Sir John A. Macdonald, died after having a horribly tiring campaign and ended up having a stroke at the very end of it, while our 4th prime minister, Sir John S. D. Thompson, ended up having a heart attack when eating with the Queen. To learn more about Canadian politics and elections, please subscribe to Meaningful Media to find out more.